The Eurozone still has a currency that is not fit for purpose. I think it was John Major who described it many years ago as the triumph of bad politics over good economics. And we don't need to go into the history of what's happened to know and to see that the currency had a very weak and a very poor infrastructure, and when the challenge came, many countries nearly had to leave the Eurozone because the currency did not function properly. What we have at the moment is a common currency, but of course what we need is a monetary union. And there's a big difference between the two of those. And one of the issues about putting a monetary union in place is that there are those who will say, in order to have a monetary union, you need much closer political integration. And that's a huge challenge for the European Union, because the truth of the matter is we are not now, or I believe in the near future, going to have closer European integration. We just need to look at votes in France and the Netherlands on the convention at that time, on the European Constitution, and subsequent votes in Ireland. European citizens are not ready. They do not want closer political integration, for now at least. So the challenge is for those countries that have the common currency to get to the point where we can have monetary union without closer political union. So the question is, how do we manage to do that? In order to have a proper monetary union, first of all, we need rules about central banks, how much they borrow, etc. But also, we need centralised or European banking supervision. We need European banking resolution, so that if a bank fails or goes bust, that the citizens of the member state in which the bank is located are not left to pick up the pieces. And we also need an insurance scheme, a European insurance scheme for retail deposits. If we had those pieces of the jigsaw in place, along with rules that were enforced, then we could have a monetary union that is functioning. But unfortunately, we don't have that. And the problem for member states is this, that if, as in the case of Ireland, for example, you have a run on the banks, and at the same time, the country can't borrow, then literally the country goes bankrupt because it can't print money as a member of a monetary union. The UK, for example, can print sterling and does. In fact, it's the country that has printed more money than any other European country. So it has that fallback, that stopgap. We don't have that. So therefore, we need a centralised or a European system to do that. And unfortunately, we don't have that in place at the moment. We are at the moment in the final stages of looking at some of those aspects. We are trying to put in place a European banking union. And we already have agreement on banking supervision. But we have no real agreement on banking resolution. In other words, what to do when banks go bust. Yeah, we have an agreement, but it's lengthy, it's cumbersome, and at the end of the day, it's just going to cause us trouble down the line. And there is no agreement at all on any kind of insurance for retail deposits. So at the moment, we have an infrastructure that still won't support the currency properly. It's better and it's more stable than what was there earlier, but the euro still remains vulnerable and still remains fragile. And that's going to be a huge challenge for the members of the Eurozone and the European Union over the next number of years. Because while we have a fragile currency, it threatens the very stability of the European Union. We are inching our way towards putting it in place. But we need to move faster, because without it, we cannot have that stability. And it's only when we have that, I believe, that the European Union and the Eurozone can really begin to look forward, and its citizens can begin to regain confidence in a project that, at the moment is quite unstable.